Welcome, dear listeners. Today we are diving to a tale of Israel. So settle in and let this story lull you into peaceful reflection, where the past speaks softly, revealing the human spirit's ceaseless quest for home and harmony. Long before cities rose or kings were crowned, the land destined to be Israel served as a cradle for humanity. In the vast southern Levant, a bridge between continents, early hominids wandered over 1 million years ago, leaving flint tools at sites like Ubaidiya near the Sea of Galilee, crafted by hands driven by survival in a wild world. These ancestors, our distant kin, left bones and artifacts whispering of migrations from Africa through this fertile corridor, seeking new horizons amid shifting landscapes. Around 200,000 years ago, early modern humans mingled with Neanderthals in Mount Carmel's caves like Es Skul and El Tabun, sharing fires and perhaps tales under starry skies that still watch over us. This land has always been a meeting place, a gentle haven offering refuge from harsher climes, fostering the first sparks of human connection. The air was filled with the sounds of nature, the rustle of leaves, and the distant calls of animals, as these early beings adapted to the changing environment, their daily lives revolving around gathering berries, hunting small game, and finding shelter in natural caves that dotted the rugged terrain. Archaeological digs continue to reveal more about their tools, simple yet ingenious, shaped from local stone, reflecting a quiet ingenuity that laid the groundwork for future innovations. As ice ages receded around 10,000 BCE, the Natufian people settled here, transitioning from nomadic hunters to pioneering farmers. In places like Nahal Oren, they built simple homes, domesticating grains and animals, laying civilization's foundation. The Neolithic Revolution bloomed quietly, with Jericho rising as one of the world's oldest cities, its walls encircling communities mastering food storage and pottery, living in harmony with the land's planting and harvest cycles. Archaeological finds reveal ritual burials and early religious practices, hinting at a spiritual bond with the earth that echoed through generations, a quiet reverence for the natural world. Families would gather around central hearths, sharing stories passed down orally, while children learned to tend to the first domesticated sheep and goats, their wool and milk becoming staples of sustenance. The landscape itself seemed to nurture this change, with fertile valleys providing ample wild cereals that encouraged permanent settlements, and the first crude sickles harvesting what would become the bread of life for countless descendants. By the Bronze Age around 3300 BCE, Canaanite city-states dotted the landscape, with massive tells at Megiddo and Hazor, testifying to thriving societies linked by trade to Egypt and Mesopotamia. Skilled in bronze and writing, Canaanites built fortified cities, worshipping gods like Baal and Asherah in temples filled with incense. Egyptian pharaohs like Thutmose III wielded influence, conquering at Megiddo in 1457 BCE, their inscriptions boasting regional dominance. Yet some scholars suggest local rulers preserved autonomy through deft diplomacy, a subtle art of survival amid imperial might. Merchants traversed dusty roads laden with copper ingots and precious spices, bartering in bustling markets where the air was thick with the scent of myrrh and the chatter of multiple tongues. Temples rose high, adorned with intricate carvings depicting fertility rites and storm gods, where priests performed ceremonies to ensure bountiful rains and fertile soil, binding the community in shared beliefs that wove spirituality into every aspect of daily existence. Around 1200 BCE, a great collapse toppled empires, ushering in the Iron Age. From the ruins emerged Philistines along the coast and Israelites in the highlands. The Merneptah stele of 1209 BCE names Israel as a defeated people, the earliest extra-biblical reference. Likely evolving from Canaanite roots, Israelites settled in modest villages, herding and farming on terraces. Ancient texts tell of liberation from Egypt under Moses, a desert sojourn, and Joshua's conquests, though archaeology suggests a gradual cultural shift, maintaining continuity with earlier traditions. Amarna letters mention Hebrew outcasts, possibly linked to Hebrews, revealing hidden social struggles. In these highland hamlets, life was simple yet resilient, with terraced fields carved into hillsides to capture precious rainwater, families living in multi-room stone houses where olive oil lamps flickered at night, illuminating evenings filled with storytelling and the weaving of wool into garments that protected against the chill of winter winds. By the 10th century BCE, the era of kings began, with Saul uniting tribes overshadowed by David, who captured Jerusalem, and, legend says, slew Goliath. His son Solomon built the first temple, a splendid symbol of unity and divine favor, with alliances reaching Phoenicia and Sheba. Some envision a grand monarchy, others a modest Judahite realm, with the Tel Dan steles House of David as a key clue. Solomon's foreign marriages sowed discord amid prosperity. The temple's construction involved thousands of laborers, cedar wood shipped from distant Lebanon, and gold overlays that gleamed in the sunlight, creating a sacred space where priests offered sacrifices and the Ark of the Covenant rested, symbolizing the divine presence among the people. Diplomatic envoys from far lands arrived bearing gifts, their caravans a testament to the kingdom's growing influence. Yet beneath the opulence lurked tensions from heavy taxation and forced labor that strained loyalties. After Solomon's death, around 930 BCE, the kingdom split into northern Israel and southern Judah. Israel thrived under Omri and Ahab, building Samaria and forging alliances noted in Assyrian records. Prophets like Elijah and Elisha confronted idolatry with zealous miracles. Judah, centered on Jerusalem, upheld the Davidic line, with Hezekiah fortifying against Assyrian threats. In 722 BCE, Assyria conquered Israel, exiling the 10 lost tribes, a lingering mystery with claims of descent in distant lands. Judah endured until Sennacherib's 701 BCE Jerusalem siege ended mysteriously, perhaps by plague or tribute, as hinted in the Siloam Tunnel inscription. The tunnel itself, a marvel of engineering, channeled water from the Gihon Spring into the city, ensuring survival during prolonged blockades. Its inscription, carved in ancient Hebrew script, praising the workers who met in the middle from opposite ends, a feat that spoke to the ingenuity and determination of the people under siege. Prophets like Isaiah envisioned peace. Jeremiah warned of doom, which struck in 587 BCE when Nebuchadnezzar razed the temple, exiling elites to Babylon. There, Judaism evolved, with synagogues and scriptures emerging. Tablets record rations for King Jehoiachin, offering glimpses into exiled lives. Resilience shone when Cyrus of Persia, in 539 BCE, allowed returns and the temple rebuilding under Zerubbabel. Ezra and Nehemiah enforced reforms, including intermarriage bans, seen as protective or exclusionary. In Babylon, the exiles gathered by the rivers, composing psalms of longing for Zion, their faith deepening through study and prayer in makeshift assemblies that foreshadowed the synagogue tradition, preserving their identity amid foreign customs and languages that threatened to erode their heritage. Alexander the Great's 332 BCE Hellenistic wave blended Greek and Jewish cultures. Ptolemaic and Seleucid rule sparked tensions, erupting in the 167 BCE Maccabean revolt against Antiochus IV's temple desecration. Judas Maccabeus' guerrilla victory purified the sanctuary, birthing Hanukkah and the Hasmonean dynasty, which expanded through debated Idumean conversions, weakening under internal strife, inviting Roman intervention. The revolt began in modest villages, with farmers turning warriors, hiding in caves and striking from hills, their oil miracle symbolizing divine favor in the rededicated temple, where lamps burned brightly against the odds, inspiring festivals of light that continue to illuminate winter nights. In 63 BCE, Pompey annexed Judea, appointing Herod the Great, who expanded the temple magnificently but ruled ruthlessly, killing rivals and kin. Masada's excavations reveal his opulent desert retreats. Jesus of Nazareth, from 4 BCE to 30 CE, taught love and challenged authorities, his crucifixion under Pontius Pilate spawning Christianity. Judaism faced the 66 CE Great Revolt, crushed by Vespasian and Titus, who destroyed the temple in 70 CE. Masada's 73 CE fall, with defenders' suicides, symbolizes defiance, though Josephus's account may embellish. The revolt's flames lit Jerusalem's streets, refugees fleeing as Roman legions breached walls, the Arch of Titus in Rome later depicting the looted menorah, a poignant reminder of loss carried across empires. The 132 CE Bar Kokhba revolt briefly restored autonomy, but Hadrian's brutal response renamed the land Palestina, banning Jews from Jerusalem, deepening the diaspora. Yavne's rabbinic center preserved tradition via the Mishnah. Byzantine rule from 324 CE Christianized the land, with churches like the Holy Sepulchre, while Galilean Jews crafted the Talmud amid restrictive edicts. Emperors like Constantine commissioned grand basilicas, pilgrims flocking to sites of biblical significance, their journeys weaving a tapestry of faith that blended Jewish roots with emerging Christian narratives, though edicts limiting synagogue construction tested the endurance of Jewish communities in the north. In 638 CE, Umar's Islamic forces conquered leniently, granting religious freedoms. The Umayyads' 691 CE dome of the rock on the Temple Mount symbolized Abrahamic unity, yet stirred succession debates. Abbasid and Fatimid eras fostered scholarship, with thinkers like Maimonides nearby. Crusaders' 1099 CE Jerusalem massacre established kingdoms until Saladin's 1187 CE reconquest, his tolerance allowing Jewish returns. Saladin's chivalry at Hattin, where he offered water to captured foes, contrasted the era's brutality, his rule restoring a measure of peace where scholars and traders mingled in markets echoing with Arabic, Hebrew, and Latin. Mamluks in 1250 CE repelled Mongols, followed by Ottoman stability from 1516 CE. Suleiman the Magnificent rebuilt Jerusalem's walls, nurturing pluralism. Saft's Jewish mystics developed Kabbalah, enchanting seekers. By the 19th century, Ottoman decline left a small Jewish population among Arabs and others, but European anti-Semitism, Russian pogroms, sparked the 1882 First Aliyah, with Rothschild-backed settlements like Zichron Yaakov. Pioneers drained swamps, planted vineyards, and built cooperative farms, their idealism clashing with harsh realities of disease and isolation, yet forging a new agricultural ethos that revived the barren lands. Theodor Herzl's 1897 Zionism, inspired by the Dreyfus Affair, envisioned statehood in Der Judenstaat, though schemes like Uganda revealed rifts. Chaim Weizmann's World War I aid secured the 1917 Balfour Declaration, promising a Jewish homeland while pledging respect for others, celebrated by Zionists, decried by Arabs amid McMahon Hussein autonomy assurances. The 1920 League mandate entrenched British control, yet tensions simmered. British commissioners navigated conflicting promises, with Jewish agencies organizing immigration and land purchases, while Arab committees voiced grievances over demographic shifts that altered the social fabric. Post-World War I, Third Aliyah brought socialists founding kibbutzim like Degania, blending agriculture and defense. Arab riots in 1920 and 1929, driven by displacement fears, killed hundreds, with Hebron's massacre a neighborly betrayal. The 1937 Peel Commission's partition was rejected by Arabs, warily accepted by Jews. The Holocaust's 6 million deaths drove refugees on ships like the Exodus, turned away, amplifying urgency. Survivors arrived broken but determined, their testimonies in displaced persons camps fueling a moral imperative for a safe haven, where Hebrew schools and cultural revivals began rebuilding shattered lives. After World War II, Jewish fighters challenged British limits, with the 1946 King David Hotel bombing a debated act. UN Resolution 181 in 1947 partitioned Palestine, embraced by Jews, rejected by Arabs, sparking civil war. On the 14th May 1948, Ben-Gurion declared independence amid Arab invasions. The War of Independence, or Nakba, displaced 700,000 Palestinians, with atrocities like Deir Yassin haunting the narrative, survival for Israelis, catastrophe for Palestinians seeking return. Battles raged in narrow alleys and open fields, makeshift armies holding lines with captured weapons. The declaration read in a modest hall as sirens wailed, marking a rebirth amid chaos. The new state absorbed survivors, building Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. The 1954 Lavon affair exposed Israeli agents bombing in Egypt to blame Arabs. The 1956 Sinai campaign, allied with France and Britain against Nasser, revealed the covert Sèvres Protocol, criticized for imperialism, though Eisenhower forced withdrawal, securing gains. Paratroopers dropped into Mitla Pass, their swift advances capturing global attention. Yet the diplomatic fallout highlighted the young nation's precarious alliances in a Cold War world. The 1960s saw Dead Sea Scrolls affirming antiquity. Nasser's 1967 blockade prompted the Six-Day War, capturing Sinai, Golan, West Bank, and Jerusalem. Unification joy for Israelis, occupation start for Palestinians, with settlements contested as biblical claims or land grabs. Airstrikes decimated enemy fleets at dawn, ground forces sweeping through deserts. The Western Wall's recapture evoking tears and prayers, yet sowing seeds of prolonged conflict over sacred sites. The 1973 Yom Kippur War, A surprise Egyptian-Syrian attack exposed intelligence failures, overcome by resilience, hiding overconfidence. Tanks clashed on Golan Heights, canal crossings turned tides, the war's toll shifting public sentiment toward peace initiatives amid economic strains. The 1978 Camp David Accords, brokered by Carter with Sadat and Begin, secured Egypt peace, returning Sinai but isolating Egypt. Sadat's bold Jerusalem visit broke barriers, his Knesset speech calling for no more war, leading to treaties signed on White House lawns, a fragile hope in a volatile region. Begin's 1982 Lebanon invasion to oust the PLO led to Beirut's siege and allied Sabra and Shatila massacres, probed yet unresolved. Troops advanced northward, alliances with local militias turning tragic. The Kahan Commission's findings forcing resignations and reflections on military ethics. The 1993 Oslo Accords, secret Rabin Arafat talks, promised autonomy, shattered by Rabin's 1995 assassination. Handshakes on the White House lawn symbolized optimism. Interim agreements transferring control to Palestinian authorities, yet extremists on both sides undermined progress with violence. The 2002 Intifada, sparked by Sharon's Temple Mount visit, brought bombings and barriers, security for Israelis, apartheid for Palestinians. Uprisings filled streets with stones and gunfire, checkpoints rising as symbols of division, the human cost mounting in lives and trust lost. Sharon's 2005 Gaza withdrawal aimed for peace, but Hamas's 2006 election and 2007 takeover led to blockades. Settlers were evacuated amid tears, orange ribbons of protest. The move intended to disengage, yet leading to rocket barrages and isolation that deepened humanitarian crises. Operations like September 2008, Cast Lead, and 2014 Protective Edge devastated Gaza, with thousands dead amid debates over force versus rocket threats, Iron Dome successes, and contested white phosphorus use. Airstrikes lit night skies, ground incursions unearthed tunnels, international reports highlighting civilian suffering and calls for accountability. The 2020 Abraham Accords normalized ties with UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan, bypassing Palestinians. Diplomatic flights connected capitals, trade agreements flourishing. A shift toward economic integration that sidelined core conflicts but opened new dialogues. 2021 Sheikh Jarrah clashes ignited an 11-day war. Eviction protests escalated to rocket exchanges. Iron Dome intercepting barrages. Gaza's skyline altered by precision strikes. Ceasefires brokered amid global outcry. The October 7, 2023, Hamas attack killed 1,200, took hostages, shocking like 9/11, with intelligence echoes of 1973. Paragliders breached borders. Festivals turned massacres. Families shattered in kibbutzim. the nation's psyche wounded deeply. Israel's Gaza invasion caused over 64,000 Palestinian deaths by September 2025, accused of genocide, defended as necessity under ICJ scrutiny. Neighborhoods leveled, aid convoys navigated rubble, humanitarian pauses allowing glimpses of enduring spirit amid devastation. Hezbollah clashes escalated in 2024, with Israeli strikes displacing thousands, leading to a September 30th invasion, devastating Lebanon until a November ceasefire, though violations persisted. Northern evacuations emptied towns, rocket duels, testing defenses, fragile truces, holding amid regional tensions. Domestic protests in August 2025 saw hundreds of thousands demand war's end and hostage release, with highway blockades met by water cannons. Streets filled with banners and chants, a united front of diverse voices pressing for accountability and resolution. The June 2025 12-day Iran-Israel war, sparked by Israel's strikes on nuclear sites, ended in a ceasefire, reshaping dynamics. Drones swarmed skies, intercepts lighting nights. The conflict's brevity belying its profound impact on alliances and security postures. Netanyahu's judicial reforms fueled rallies, while West Bank settler violence surged. Demonstrations clogged cities, debates over democracy echoing in courts and streets, settler expansions igniting clashes that drew international condemnation. Amid strife, Tel Aviv's tech hubs, desalination feats, and cultural fusions thrive. Startups innovate in cybersecurity and medicine, water technologies turning deserts green, music and cuisine blending traditions in vibrant markets. Israeli Palestinians, 20% of the population, navigate identity, contributing yet facing bias. As citizens, they enrich society in arts and politics, yet systemic challenges persist, their stories adding layers to the national mosaic. The story weaves hope and pain, ancient oracles meeting modern dreams. As dusk falls, envision all yearning for peace under tranquil skies, these tales cradling your thoughts as history's river seeks harmony. In Ubaidiya's Jordan Valley, sediment layers preserve tools of early humans, perhaps Homo erectus, shaping hand axes for hunting by ancient lakes, their lives a steady rhythm of survival. At Gesher, Benot Yaakov, 790,000-year-old fire pits warmed communal meals, fostering bonds that grew into societies. Natufians in Wadi an-Natuf built round stone wood homes, harvesting cereals with sickle blades, their burials with shells and flowers, hinting at afterlife beliefs, a gentle spirituality. Ain Malah's hearths warmed families, children playing as elders shared lore. The transition to farming brought new tools like grinding stones for flour, women laboring over querns while men fashioned nets for fishing in nearby streams, their communities growing stronger through shared labor and seasonal festivals, celebrating the Earth's bounty. Jericho's 8-meter Neolithic tower overlooked wheat fields, with plastered skulls, in homes honoring ancestors, tying living to dead. Yamukian pottery's herringbone patterns adorned daily vessels, a hidden artistry. Bronze Age Megiddo's layers show cities rebuilt on ruins, symbolizing persistence. Canaanite temples hosted ceremonies invoking rain gods for harvests, while trade brought lapis lazuli, enriching elites whose tombs held gold. Daily life pulsed with activity, potters shaping clay by riverbanks, smiths hammering bronze in smoky forges, children learning cuneiform on clay tablets that recorded trade deals and myths. Hyksos forts with ramparts defended against Egyptian attacks, their chariots thundering across plains. After their 1550 BCE expulsion, Egyptian taxes met subtle resistance in Baal hymns. Amarna letters reveal Jerusalem's king begging for archers, exposing empire vulnerabilities. Iron Age Israelite villages featured pillared houses, livestock below, humans above for security. Philistine Ekron's smelting hearths gave military edge, their beer pork feasts, contrasting Israelite taboos. Villagers pressed olives into oil for lamps and cooking, women weaving linens on looms, the scent of baking bread filling air as families gathered for Sabbath meals. Biblical Abraham migrated from Ur around 2000 BCE. His Hebron covenant and Machpelah burial purchase setting a land promise theme. Moses' exodus, with plagues and Red Sea parting, shaped ethical monotheism. Wilderness manna, a divine miracle. Joshua's Jericho conquests blended divine intervention and strategy. Deborah's Tabor leadership and Jael's heroism empowered women in song. Saul's envy of David marked a tragic reign, while David's Jerusalem conquest and Psalms humanized his rise. Solomon's wisdom, temple dedication, and Sheba's visit showcased wealth, but taxes foreshadowed revolt. Northern Israel's ivory houses contrasted prophetic justice calls with Elijah's Carmel fire, a divine spectacle. Assyrian bas-reliefs of Lachish siege depict terror tactics, breaking spirits. Hezekiah's broad wall and tunnel prepared for siege. Josiah's Deuteronomy find sparked revival. Babylonian chronicles confirm Jerusalem's 587 BCE fall. Zedekiah's blinded flight, sons slain. Ezekiel's Babylonian visions offered hope. Cyrus's 538 BCE edict allowed temple rebuilding. Zerubbabel's foundation, laid amid elder tears. Ezra's Torah readings and Nehemiah's 52-day wall building defied opposition. Alexander's 332 BCE priest respect spared Jerusalem, blending cultures. Ptolemaic Septuagint translated Torah for Diaspora. Antiochus's Zeus statue provoked Maccabean revolt. Judas's purification birthing Hanukkah. Hasmonean coinage signaled independence. Herod's Masada palaces and Caesarea port showcased engineering. His paranoia deadly. Jesus' Galilee parables and healings fulfilled prophecies. His crucifixion, birthing a faith. Zealot in fighting, a weakened 66 CE defenses. Titus's 70 CE temple destruction, scattering treasures. Bar Kokhba's Engedi letters reveal revolt administration. Yavna's Mishnah preserved oral law. Byzantine Beit Alpha's zodiac mosaics blended faiths. Umar's 638 CE peaceful conquest and Dome's 691 CE verses marked unity and tension. Abbasid Sadia Gaon debated, Fatimids tolerated, Crusaders massacred. Saladin restored. Mamluk Baybars halted Mongols, Ottomans rebuilt walls. Safavids Kabbalah enchanted. Napoleon's 1799 Acre siege failed. Muhammad Ali's 1831 rule brief. Anti-Semitism's rise, 1840. Damascus libel, 1894. Dreyfus birthed Zionism. Pinska's 1882 call and first Aliyah's settlements defied malaria. Herzl's 1897 Congress and failed Sultan talks fueled dreams. World War I's Balfour and Sykes-Picot stirred debate. Mandates Samuel faced riots. Hitler's 1933 to 1938 decrees drove immigration, capped by 1939 White Paper. Holocaust diaries like Anne Frank's pierced hearts. Post-war Exodus plight and 1947 UN partition sparked joy and strife. Independence in 1948 met invasion. Burma Road, relieving Jerusalem's siege. Nakba's displacement scarred. Mabarot camps absorbed Yemenite airlifts. Sinai's 1956 Sèvres Pact invasion. One then withdrew. Eichmann's 1961 trial bared horrors. Eshkol's water project and 1967 strikes unified Jerusalem, sparking settlements. Yom Kippur's 1973 failures led to Entebbe's 1976 heroics. Sadat's 1977 visit and 1979 treaty traded Sinai for peace. Lebanon's 1982 siege and massacres stained Sharon's legacy. Oslo's 1993 handshake ended with Rabin's 1995 slaying. Second Intifada's 2000 bombings built barriers. Gaza's 2005 withdrawal preceded Hamas's 2007 takeover, sparking blockades and operations like 2008 Cast Lead. Abraham Accords bypassed Palestinians. 2021 clashes flared. 2023's Hamas attack shocked. 2024's Hezbollah war and Iran's strikes reshaped tensions. Protests demanded peace, tech and culture flourished. Yet occupation and return debates persist. The land's layered history, from prehistoric fires to modern dreams, flows toward peace, its stories fading into dreams of a shared future. To deepen the prehistoric narrative, Consider the intimate details of daily existence in those early times. At Ubaidiya, the tools not only served for hunting, but also for scraping hides and preparing meals, with groups likely migrating seasonally along riverbanks, their footprints fossilized in mud that hardened over eons. Gesher Benot Yaakov's fires might have been sites of early social rituals where sharing food strengthened tribal ties, perhaps even the beginnings of music with rhythmic drumming on logs. Natufian settlements saw the first experiments with permanent architecture, pits lined with stones for storage, ensuring survival through lean winters. Their art in the form of carved bone ornaments, reflecting a budding aesthetic sense. In Jericho, the tower stood not just as defense, but possibly a communal landmark around which villagers celebrated harvests with dances and feasts, the community's cohesion vital in an era without written laws. Bronze Age life in Canaan involved intricate social hierarchies, with kings in palatial complexes overlooking peasant farms, where irrigation canals channeled water to crops, sustaining populations that grew with each technological advance. The collapse around 1200 BCE brought chaos, cities burning as invaders like the Sea Peoples arrived by boat, their advanced weaponry clashing with local bronze, reshaping societies in the fires of destruction. Iron Age Philistines introduced new pottery styles, painted with geometric designs, their coastal cities thriving on trade with distant islands, while Israelites in the hills developed a unique identity through laws and festivals that emphasized communal solidarity. David's court in Jerusalem buzzed with musicians and scribes, his psalms composed on lyres, echoing through valleys. Solomon's era saw grand building projects, workers from allied nations laboring side by side. The Queen of Sheba's arrival, a spectacle of camels laden with spices, her riddles testing the king's famed wisdom in opulent halls. The split kingdoms saw northern prophets decrying luxury, their voices rising in marketplaces against injustice, while Judah's kings like Uzziah expanded borders with chariots and fortifications. Assyrian deportations scattered families, some assimilating in new lands, others clinging to traditions that evolved into diverse Jewish communities worldwide. Babylonian exile fostered intellectual ferment, scholars debating laws by candlelight, laying foundations for rabbinic Judaism that would sustain the people through centuries of dispersion. Persian returns brought joyous processions, tools in hand to rebuild. The Second Temple's dedication, a moment of collective renewal amid ruins. Hellenistic influences introduced theaters and gyms, youth wrestling in Greek style, yet purists resisted, leading to the Maccabean flames of rebellion that lit the path to independence. Roman rule under Herod saw massive engineering, aqueducts bringing water to arid cities, his paranoia manifesting in secret prisons and family intrigues that rivaled Shakespearean dramas. Jesus' ministry unfolded in humble villages, his followers fishing on Galilee's waters, sermons drawing crowds to hillsides where miracles of loaves and fishes fed the hungry. The revolts against Rome were desperate bids for freedom, fighters hiding in caves with scrolls and weapons, their stand at Masada a tragic epic of choice in the face of enslavement. Byzantine pilgrims walked dusty roads to holy sites, their devotions mixing with local customs, while Jewish sages in Tiberias compiled volumes of commentary that enriched global thought. Islamic conquests brought new architectures, mosques rising beside synagogues, scholars translating Greek texts into Arabic, fostering a golden age where Jewish poets like Halevi yearned for Zion in verse. Crusader castles dotted hills, knights in armor, clashing with Saracen swords. Saladin's mercy, a beacon in bloody times. Mamluk warriors trained in Cairo's citadels, their victories at Ain Jalut halting Mongol hordes, preserving the region's cultural mosaic. Ottoman centuries saw dhimmi communities thriving in relative peace, Jewish refugees from Spain infusing new vitality, Safavids mystics meditating on cosmic repair, their writings influencing seekers across continents. 19th-century awakenings saw European consuls protecting minorities, Montefiore's philanthropy building hospitals and schools, laying groundwork for revival. Zionism's pioneers faced sandstorms and fevers, their songs of labor echoing in fields, Herzl's vision inspiring congresses where delegates debated paths to statehood. World War I's battles in the desert, Allenby's entry into Jerusalem, Balfour's letter, a pivotal promise amid imperial redrawings. Mandate years saw Hebrew universities rise, cultural renaissances in theater and literature, yet riots scarred communities, deepening divides. Holocaust shadows loomed, survivors' resilience forging a nation from ashes, their integration a miracle of absorption. Independence wars tested mettle, heroes emerging from shadows, the state's birth a symphony of hope and hardship. Modern conflicts, from Sinai sands to Gaza streets, reflect ongoing quests for security and justice, innovations in agriculture, turning deserts blooming, peace accords flickering like distant stars, guiding toward a shared dawn. The narrative endures, each era adding depth, from ancient footprints to satellite views. A land where history breathes, inviting all to dream of unity. Our history lesson ends here, but your dreams are just beginning. If you'd like more soothing stories to fall asleep to, don't forget to like and subscribe, so you'll always have a bedtime story waiting. Sleep well and good night.